Okay. Are you ready? Come on, babes! Let's rock! I need more power.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, coming at you with another gameplay breakdown for Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. This time, we'll be covering Trish and Lady. And if you haven't seen the previous gameplay analysis already, I will leave an annotation right there in the upper hand corner before we commence to check out the character that I covered previously, Virgil. I cover all the moves that I seen, and I gave a little detailed analysis from there of the new functions and new moves that he'll have in DMC with specific sources. Once again, I must stress the fact that I'm going to use technical terms. Some terms may come across as oddball to some people that they may not know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an explanation for each of these terms if you're not an avid Devil May Cry fan like myself. So let's commence and see these beautiful ladies of destruction kick some demonic ass. Also, just to clarify, I'm giving a quick little shout out to a user named Brandon. I gotta thank this guy a truckload. He's the one who provided Trish and Lady gameplay for me on the spot. He's the one who compiled a video on his own detailing extra bits and pieces of footage that might have been missed out on the initial videos itself with Trish and Lady, and he added some bonus stuff in there in the mix. So I gotta give a shout out to him using his video right now. If any other fans would like to suggest some footage or gameplay for me from DMC4 Special Edition and you want me to do an analysis on it, I will be more than welcome to do so. Just drop the links in the comments below and let me know. Now let's commence on. As the video begins, we see the first move that is initiated by Lady here. It seems that she has a grappling maneuver done with her Kalina Ann that launches the enemy in midair. There was a sort of command grab move that you can do with the Kalina Ann in DMC3, but it did not launch the enemy in midair like this, which makes me question how is it going to work in midair? How is Lady going to work in general? Because as we see here in the footage, Lady is a completely different character altogether from Dante, Nero, and Virgil. She doesn't have a close range melee weapon, so her performance is mostly going to be in gun combat, and I assume the Kalina Ann is going to have a lot of chain grapple maneuvers. I hope there's some potential for her in terms of combo variety, but it's hard for me to see it in terms of air combos unless she has something really good that can follow up with JCing, jump canceling. And that's using enemy step to jump on an enemy in midair and continue a combo. You can kind of see that's hard for Lady to do considering that she doesn't have a melee weapon, but maybe she has some things in her arsenal that would lead up to that. At this point in the footage, you can see that Lady is getting a little bit versatile with the Kalina Ann grapple technique. She takes an enemy up from midair that she launched previously, and she can slam them down for more style and more vast damage. At this point in the footage, it appears that Lady switches between weapons, and you can honestly see the variety of weapons that she has in her arsenal here. She can switch between a pistol, a shotgun, and the Kalina Ann missile launcher. This definitely confirms that Lady is going to have on-the-fly weapon switching in her arsenal, which probably can very well tie into some combo variety. So, at this particular stamp in the footage, Lady runs over, she shoots a few enemies, busts some caps in their ass, but the most important thing to note here is that she runs to the opposite side of this fountain here, and her hands are glowing, and you're figuring, what is that? It seems that Charge Shot from DMC3 and DMC4 has made a return, and what it was a charge for certain guns where Dante could charge up his demonic energy and he could fire blasts that could knock the enemy back or damage them in high volume. This seems to have now been applied to Lady, and apparently there's 3 layers, as you can see on the side of her health bar. There's 3 runes to this. There's a level 1 and then there's a level 3, and then you have to wonder how high is the level 3 going to be, how much damage is that going to do, and how many guns can you apply that to. Could you just apply it to the pistol or shotgun, or maybe Kalina Ann is going to have a lot more surprises in store for us than originally expected. So, at this point in the footage, Lady has a maneuver that makes a return from DMC3. And what this maneuver is the gunslinger technique, where in DMC3, if you had gunslinger on as a style and you got Dante up to a certain level, he could use his shotgun as a stinger shot to knock enemies back. It seems that the same mechanics apply here. Lady can use the gunslinger to knock down multiple enemies and leave them scatterbrained. And at the same time, she also has a follow-up attack which looks like an explosive that does a lot of dangerous, destructive, close-range mayhem. Speaking of returning maneuvers, it appears that Lady has fireworks from DMC3. And that's basically the move that Dante had, where if you quit the shotgun and gunslinger, he would fling his shotgun like a nunchaku across his body and it would damage nearby enemies that came in vicinity. This move for her is a little bit different in terms of properties. You press the button for the nunchaku fireworks once in DMC3, it would have a cooldown period. But for Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, that no longer seems to be the case. It seems that Lady can do it an infinite amount of times without any cooldown period or tiring out her shotgun. But here we have Lady's charge shot at level 3 for the handgun. And it appears to be a definite explosive round that's fired at the last shot, and it propels the enemy in midair. So once we peel back the layers, we're seeing that a lot of things are being implemented into Lady's playstyle that has existed from DMC3 Dante and DMC4 Dante gunslinger style, and these implementations upcoming are no different. It appears that Lady does the honeycomb fire, which is a maneuver that Dante used to do in DMC4, where he takes his two guns and he crosses them over and then he starts firing really rapidly, and it appears she has this too sometime. And this is a move that could quite honestly only be summed up as something real straight out of the movie Equilibrium.
And that's how you do it.
I'm telling you, it's like pure Gunata artistry when it comes to describing what two sometime looks like. So with the last piece of footage, it looks like that you can cancel certain moves from honeycomb fire into charge shot, which is a nice little addition if I must say so myself, because you can finish off enemies airborne that way. And it appears that one of the animations has it where Lady reloads her magazine. Now, the main question I'm wondering is if mags are going to balance this character out, because there's never been a reloading mechanic to my knowledge in the Devil May Cry verse. Dante has his pistols and weapons infused with magic, so he doesn't need to reload. He has infinite ammo and a license to kill. When it comes to Lady, she's a mere human, so I'm wondering, is that going to factor in the gameplay? Are you going to reload and do some cancelable moves with those animations in play? Will it be a big hindrance? It remains to be seen, but I'm curious to see how things go. This is a new move that looks cool for a lot of following reasons. It seems that Lady can take her Kalina Ann and propel herself from the ground to midair. Apparently, this move will probably damage the enemies below her, as well as propel her from dangerous attacks. As the footage goes on, it definitely appears here that Kalina Ann can be charged to fire a more powerful rocket into an enemy and destroy him immediately. The S ranks that this thing racks up is quite honestly insane, and I think this is going to be one of Lady's most powerful moves with Kalina Ann, at least from my perspective here. Well, opening up another bag of tricks I see. You have a freaking multi-shot with this thing now that can lock onto multiple enemies and rack up some style points or kills. From Devil May Cry 3 returns another move, and that is Hysteric. This is where you pin the Kalina Ann into the ground and you do a little crowd control with it because missiles swarm everywhere. It seems that this time though, Hysteric lasts for another longer duration, so crowd control should be easy as pie when it comes to something like this time around. So, we're about to wrap up the video, and we have about 3 more moves to detail, which I'm going to detail in quick succession. The first one is this backdash that you see here. This is a new offensive defensive move that can clear enemies in front of you if you're being on the offensive. You can see that it clears the parameter of enemies, no problem. And it's also defensive in the fact that you have this backdash that you can easily slide your way out of a situation. If you feel you're being too pressured, if you feel you don't have the crowd control game going, if you feel you're being too swarmed, you can use this offensive defensive move to get out of there in a pinch. And I think that's going to be definitely something that a lot of players that are going to play smart, they're not going to want to be hit, but at the same time, they want to get some hits in to keep their style bar going. This would be the perfect maneuver to do so in a tight pinch. So that's that situation taken care of. We also have this new swiping technique where Lady goes in a full 360 degree angle and she swipes with her Kalina Ann blade. I assume this is also going to be very great for crowd controlling enemies that are swarmed around you. And then she has this last interesting move, which looks like a vast screen clearing attack that she lights up like a Super Saiyan or something, and half the enemies on the screen are completely decimated. This screen clearing attack does not look as far as Judgment Cut End, which Virgil has, which he slashes across the screen a couple of times and he kills mostly everyone. This one seems to be in a shorter radius than that move, which leads me to believe maybe you can upgrade this move to have a bigger explosion, maybe you can't. It remains to be seen. However, I will note that the player is again playing it with infinite trigger, so he can do this many times as possible without any meter running out, and I feel it's not going to be as overpowered as Judgment Cut In looks. So in that regard, I will say that Lady is looking pretty good right now. She has a lot of versatility going for her with her weaponry and not having any melee, and racking up huge amounts of style points simply for some chargeable moves. I cannot wait to see how she functions and controls in combat. I think that for a first time seeing a character that is mostly long range into DMC, I wonder how that's going to work with the mechanics, because as you are well aware, you can only play with Trish and Lady in certain levels. You can't play with Trish and Nero levels, and you can't play with Lady and Dante levels. You can only play with Lady and Nero levels. So I'm wondering how that's all going to really pan out in the end, but I can't wait to see it happen. About a few more months until I get DMC Special Edition on my hands, so I will definitely be doing some coverage of it when I finally get the game for Steam. Also, I want you guys to be aware that I'm working on the second part to this video. I have to split it into parts because of the whole 15-minute time limit. So I am working on Trish part 2 as we speak. It's not a lot there in terms of new maneuvers, but I'm going to cover what I can, and that will be the end of analyzing the gameplay breakdowns for the characters, the new characters in DMC4 Special Edition. This is Renegade Operative signing off. I might go back and do a rundown of Dante and Nero and show people how I really got good with those two in DMC4 previously, but those are my plans and I am mapping them out as I go on the horizon. So I hope you guys really enjoy and take care, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, spread it out. You got any information, drop it in the comments. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks.